Hey guys,
Hey.
I'm Alicia,
And I'm Meredith.
and this is It's About the Pasta, a Vanderpump Rules podcast. But with a twist this week, we both have working microphones.
Woo, 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 woo.
So this podcast is dedicated to Bria and Samantha, who gave us a lovely 5-star review that encouraged us to keep going.
Yes,
So
we
thank you.
did it for you. We appreciate the constructive criticism, and we made it, everybody. Alicia sent me the cord this week.
We got
Plugged
it.
in the microphone. This was the broken one, and it's working with Zoom, so maybe it's just like my
Working.
computer.
Maybe we just have to do Zoom forever.
We might have to. Quarantine forever for Alicia and I.
We are on the Geek Nerdery Podcast Network. Check out all their other podcasts. Also, please rate, subscribe, review us.
Yes.
We have a couple more reviews. We prefer 5 stars, everyone. But if you want to give us a 4-star, we'll accept that too. But that's it. Thank you.
That's it.
Also, join our Facebook group. It was really lit this week.
Yeah, lots going on in there this week.
Same name as the podcast. So if you're listening to the podcast, you can find the Facebook group. The intro gets me every time.
I know.
I don't think either of us are mixing it up, right? You're
No.
doing like sober quarantine now.
No.
Oh.
No, I'm not. I literally went to a winery 2 weekends in a row and then went to a lake, and I told Alicia that my phone is at the bottom of the lake now, so I was clearly not sober.
Meredith's phone this weekend ended up at the bottom of a lake. Yesterday, my apartment lost power. We're kind of a mess, so I should have a drink, but I just got back. I don't have time.
I don't really, I live in the basement of my parents' house, and I'm so lazy I won't walk up the flight of stairs to the garage to get some alcohol.
It's a lot. I don't have any right now because Chicago is
falling
apart.
A mess.
I was gonna get some, but Target and Walmart, the ones near me, closed at 5, and I was trying to go at like 6:30. So
insane.
Oh well. Well, Meredith, we have some Facebook feedback from last week's reunion episode.
Give it to me. What'd people
Our
say?
Our shining star Chris just said, "Fucking Jax."
Agreed.
And then Carolyn, other shining star, love her, figured out how to pronounce her name.
Thank you for the phonetic spelling.
She said, "Oh my God, Jax is a fucking psycho. How are any of these people still friends with him or still defending him? And Brittany has lost her perfect little princess view for me.
100%.
She and him are peas in a pod, and it's no wonder they ended up together." I agree. I used to wonder about this, and now it makes sense.
Well, here's the thing is, I always like when your partner can kind of check you. I feel like Ariana does it to Tom a lot. Like, not maybe full on camera, but she says when she disagrees with him, like she told us that she didn't agree with the way he handled the Stassi situation. She wanted them to hear him out because she understood his emotions behind it and thought he was valid with his emotions. Obviously, everybody is, but did not handle it well. So I appreciate Ariana saying, like, no, you did not do this correctly. Whereas Brittany's always like, well, you did that. And like, she's always just defending him and kind of going on the like defense rather than like calling him out for the shitty person he is.
I know. Well, thank you, Carolyn, for your thoughts, and Chris. And then there was some activity up in here at the Facebook group.
Ooh.
So I posted an article 4 days ago about how Stassi has been dropped by brands for calling the police on Faith. Now, I don't know, like, who knows this, but basically there was, like, a police warning out that there was this African-American woman stealing from, like, locals, like, right? Local guys.
Yeah. I didn't get the real, like, I know Stassi said it at some point.
On a podcast.
Yeah, she said, and that's, like, been removed, so it's hard to find the thing she actually said. But, yeah, I know basically there was an African-American woman, but the way Faith described it, like, recently, that it was, like, a woman with tattoos. She was lighter skinned than her. Like, for her, like, it was very obvious they're not the same. But
yeah,
Kristen and Stassi, I don't know their thought behind it, but they called the cops saying it was their coat.
I don't know if it was ill-willed. I'd like to think it's not, but at the same time, Stassi and Kristen aren't the nicest people in the world. So, and Faith wasn't exactly on their good side at the time because of Jax. So it could have been malicious. It could have not been. But either way, they called the police because they thought Faith looked like this other woman. Yeah. And Faith came out recently and talked about it, to which with all the Black Lives Matter movements, a lot of brands are very unhappy. And they ended up dropping like Stassi and Kristen from, this is initially like, I know Kristen's book.
The first wave.
Company. Yeah. Dropped her, and like Stassi, a lot of her podcast advertisements. Sponsors. Yeah. They dropped her. And then Andrea posted that Kristen and Stassi have been dropped or like fired from Bravo.
Bravo and the production. Yeah, Bravo and the production company met, I think, yesterday and dropped them, as well as Max and Brett.
Yes, Max and Brett. I like forget about those two guys because they've only been here for one season. But Stassi and Kristen are big players in Vanderpump. So if they're able to shoot a 9th season, which right now with coronavirus they're not shooting, I think it will be very different. I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't want a 9th season, but I will say I'm interested to see how the dynamic would go.
Yeah, I know we're big on the show Stassi fans. Obviously, what Stassi and Kristen did was completely wrong. It's heartbreaking to kind of see a lot of things come out, and you just hope that they grow and move from it. I know they both put out statements, and hopefully they're taking the time to educate themselves, as we all are during this time. But definitely will change the course of this show, and we're very interested to see what season 9 will look like, if it can be recorded shortly. Or not shortly, but like sometime this year, and then also what the dynamics will be, because obviously 2 new people have also been fired that, you know, like they're going to have to bring on quite a few more people, in my opinion.
A lot of people on Twitter were like, this is the time that Lisa can diversify her cast. Because I think Faith has been the only person of color.
Yeah, right? I think so.
Like, and she was only here for maybe half a season. She was like a background player for a lot of the time.
Yeah, she wasn't a main cast member.
And then she turned into the villain for some reason. I never thought she was the villain. But when Jax fucked her, everyone was like, oh, how dare Faith? Whereas the rest of us, I'm sure, were like, how fucking dare Jax?
Yeah. What's also interesting is, I was thinking about this too, is just like in a diversifying it completely is we obviously had Billy on there for 1 or 2 seasons.
Oh yeah.
But we haven't had, I know Ariana is obviously bi and so is Dana, but we haven't had, besides oh god, what's James's friend who you hate?
Oh my god, I was gonna say Lance, but that's Lance.
Logan's gay, but like it's not like any main cast members have been gay either. Like,
that's true.
I'm very intrigued to see
I want a Vanderpump gay wedding.
Ooh, that'd be there's where Lance Bass can officiate.
Oh my god,
I would love it.
Yeah.
But there's so much more that they can do, and I think now that they've recognized that they need to make that an opportunity, but they also have obviously space in the cast. It's just the perfect time.
And it might take like a season or 2 to like get it going, but I think it could. You know, people move on. The Real Housewives have people in and out all the time, and that's been going on for literal decades. It feels like.
Yeah, like most of the Real Housewives don't have their original cast anymore. Like OC just stopped with their 2 last like OGs. So, and it's going to continue. I think it can definitely continue. I think you're right. It'll probably have a lull season maybe, just until we get introduced and excited about the new cast members. But I'm very interested on how Jax and Brittany will be a player in the next season, because with Kristen, one of their favorite people, and Stassi and OG gone, they hate Tom and Ariana, and Schwartz and Katie are kind of these like middle players that it's hard, I think, for them to connect with anyone else.
Yeah. A lot of people on Twitter, just when I was looking, were calling for the fire of Jax and Brittany too, because of the way that they, like, specifically Jax, the comments he makes towards the LGBTQ plus community and women. So they're like, if you're going to do it, Stassi and Kristen, like, we applaud you, but also
there are other areas as well. This is obviously Black Lives Matter is a big focus right now. And because until Black Lives Matter, all lives don't matter. But I think we also need to start being more sensitive to the comments people make and actually holding them responsible. I agree. Like when you're doing one, you need to like create a hard line of we don't accept any type of language against anybody.
Yeah. Well, kind of going off this, Chris posted in the Facebook, which is why you guys should join, controversial opinion, but I think it's time to pull the plug on the show. Thoughts? To which Meredith and I basically said what we said now, like maybe, maybe not. It depends how they play it. Someone else, Jordan, agreed. So I don't know. I think it could be great. There would be a bad season probably, but it could.
I agree.
Could be.
You know what would be interesting is if Vanderpump Rules stopped and a new show came in, kind of more on Tom Tom.
Ooh, Tom Tom.
Or like they make the hard switch. Maybe it's still called Vanderpump Rules because obviously the name of the show doesn't have anything to do with Sir, but they kind of focus in on Tom Tom, and you could really reset the cast. Still have the Toms, Ariana and Katie. They'd be partial players, obviously, but Dana would still be there. She's bartending.
Charlie. We love Charlie.
Could come over.
Reunion.
If
still be on it.
Yeah.
James and Raquel. And then you have not just the Sir servers, but like we would meet those Tom Tom servers or even the Pump servers, like the randos that we always see in the back. Yeah, that's a really good idea. Should we work
totally
for
pivot? Listen, we basically do.
Well, we also have 2 reviews to hit really quick. Do you want to do the one first or the good one?
Let's do the one first and then end on a pumped up note.
Okay, so this one's titled Feedback, and it's from Tyree 2018. When you ask for reviews, not everyone is going to give you good reviews. You take the good with the bad. The bad reviews, as long as they aren't mean-spirited, use the feedback to improve your podcast. I think you need to format the show. News, then show recap are always good, and stay on track. I don't like when people get sassy because they don't like feedback they've asked for. Honestly.
Sorry. I love to complain.
This was like a not so bad one. I like laughed at it a little bit.
Totally love the feedback. Really appreciate it. Now I love to complain about anything, so don't be mad when I complain about you complaining.
We basically have a podcast complaining about a bunch of complainers, so you know we're complainers. It's part of our charm. And I think the thing with me is I've never left a bad review on a podcast. If I don't like it, I just don't listen. So it blows my mind that people are like kind of harsh. Also, a lot of our podcasts, like, okay, some of the reviews have been like, your sound sucks, fix your sound, which we acknowledge.
We worked on. We're here. We're in present day. We got
it. Shout out. We got it, right? So, yes, we can format our show better. Sorry about that. We just go on tangents. It's who we are. We're talking to whatever. But if you write a review called boring and just that's it. You know what? Then
help us out.
If
we're clearly boring, amateurs. Yeah.
Whatever.
We can't fix the boringness, in your opinion.
If you think we're boring, don't listen. Sorry. We're not worth it.
We think we're hilarious. So back off.
And like I said, we're not doing this to get famous, although that would be nice. We're doing this because we're not together. And especially during quarantine, we need an excuse to see each other once a week.
Yeah, I miss my work buddy.
I miss you too. And we don't work together anymore. But
I know.
Maybe one day. Reunited.
Oh man, ready to dive into the show?
Wait, we have one good one.
Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry. You started singing and I was like,
I know.
Stay on track.
So this one was 5 stars from Bring Me Pasta Please. Shout out, love it.
Same.
Huge Bravo TV fan, and these girls def know what they're talking about. Please keep your episodes coming. We fucking will.
Now that we got this mic sitch settled, we will never stop.
Oh my god, fucking game over. If Vanderpump doesn't come back, we're doing more shows.
Oh, we will
forever.
What would your next show be if Vanderpump canceled?
Ooh. Would you want to stick Bravo, or would you want to
expand? Yeah, I think we should do Bravo. I think they have a good format.
I haven't watched a lot of Bravo shows, but you have. So you could pick a show and have me be a newbie.
Loving Below Deck if you ever want to jump on board with that.
We could do Below Deck, and then I would be like the newbie.
Yeah. I think the Housewives I enjoy too much just being a watcher. Like I'm not too critical.
Are hard too. Yeah.
I just enjoy laying on the couch and not like thinking. I like to be a blob.
We could do Summer House.
Oh, actually forgot. That's okay. We're doing Summer House.
And then there's Southern Charm too. I think I watched one episode of Southern Charm.
Southern Charm is amazing. Cam is no longer coming back. The shining star. She's just so funny, and she handles the boys so well. She's like married, so she's like a sister to all the guys. It's great.
So there's like so much we could do.
There's options.
If Vanderpump doesn't come back.
Okay, we have options. Everybody, stick with us.
If quarantine shuts everything down completely, we'll just do every brow that's everywhere.
Oh my God.
You got so excited.
7 network of these shitty podcasts you guys all think we're terrible at. You get us all.
We're going to each have like 3 kids at 40 and still be doing this.
Oh my God, I thought for a minute you were about to say we're each gonna have 3 kids in quarantine, and I was like, honey, we don't have boyfriends.
Hey, I met a cute boy not met a cute boy, but reunited with a cute boy from high school.
Ooh.
We have only talked one day, and it was Saturday the day I saw him, but
love it.
Stay tuned. I hope he doesn't listen to this. He doesn't. I know.
I think about that all the time with people I know. I'm like, oh, I hope they don't know too much about my personal life from my podcast.
He would honestly probably never even watch Vanderpump if I begged him. So
okay, so he won't ever listen.
No. So should we get into the episode?
Yes. This one went by quick in my opinion.
There were parts I felt like that I was like, okay, reunions are kind of harder to follow and take notes, right or
yes.
wrong?
Oh my God, pausing. Yes. Because I don't like
me 3 hours. I kept pausing and rewinding.
Yes. It's hard to like jot everything down and kind of get the grasp of what people are saying. And then there's also those random moments like when they all were clapping for the healthcare workers. I loved it.
It was so
But I was like, this doesn't need a bullet point.
I didn't write it, but I was like, this is great.
I was like, also, I love this.
There were like a few times whenever I got really excited, I just like put it all in caps because I was like, this is something I want to talk about. And honestly, whenever that would happen, I'd be like, this is hilarious because it's like I forget what happens until these like crazy ass notes I take.
I love recapping, but it's hard to like grasp everything because they show the videos and then they talk about it that it's like grasping everything in the video.
Over each other, and it's hard to hear. And then
exhausting.
I'm like, Kristen and James arguing. I don't know about what, but
and I just enjoy watching this show that I catch myself and I'm like staring at the TV and I'm like, my mom like watched it tonight with me and then I was like, oh, I have to write this down. So I like pause it and then I'm like, okay, next section.
Oh my God. Yeah, it was a lot. Also, I'm on a lot of caffeine, so I might be kind of hyper because I got no sleep last night, but I'm ready. That
was a really good tune. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
We pick up where we left off with Jax and Sandoval fighting. Right?
Yes, and Andy muting them.
Yeah. Sandoval makes like the mom comment, which I'm like, I fucking kind of agree with Sandoval. I agree. It probably wasn't in good taste, but
yeah, I agree. I kind of understand where Lala's like, okay, let's not bring parents into this because it is sensitive. Even if you think Jax is mistreating his mom, it's kind of not everybody's place to discuss it.
And then just in case you're like, because I think we got a review of this, someone's following along with our podcast because she's a millennial and doesn't have cable, which I get because I don't have cable right now. But so we have like Jax and Tom Sandoval arguing and then like a little bit of Brittany and Ariana. And then you have Lisa and Andy telling them to stop and they're just talking over each other. And Andy legit just fucking mute
some. Well, I didn't realize. I thought it was like a play thing that he muted them, but then you can hear everybody else talking. So I think he just muted their mics.
Did you see Jax like? But like no words are coming out, and he's like arguing with someone, and Andy legit is just like mute.
Yeah, I think it was literally just the mics they were wearing because I'm sure the sound wasn't coming through Zoom.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's genius because this is why I like the Zoom call or like the Zoom meetings because you don't get everybody just screaming at each other.
Yes. And then, so I went question by question so we can hit on everything Andy asked about.
Oh,
so
beautiful.
Then he asked Jax if he still envisions growing old with Sandoval.
His response was so dumb.
Jax goes, if I didn't love this man, would I have his name tattooed on my arm? And I was like,
yes.
Do you?
Well, I didn't know that he did, I guess. But also, what happens, okay, in real relation, in a couple relationship, like a lot of people get names tattooed on their arms, but it's not like they still love him anymore. They go and cover him up. So yeah, you can hate him and still have his name there. It's permanent.
That's the kiss of death. If you ask me in relationships, never forget Jack's getting Stassi tattooed, and literally 5 days later they like broke up forever.
No,
but got back together and then broke up forever, and and then Sandoval, I think, was like the bigger person. He says he wishes the best and doesn't think they'll ever be friends, but he just wants Jax to be the best version of himself.
Did you hear Jax's response?
Yeah, do it.
He was just like, I'm very happy and I'm fine.
I feel fine. I
was like, that's not what he's saying. That is not what he's saying. You can be happy and fine and not be the best person you can be. Yeah. I'm doing it every day.
Jax is a sociopath. Like, fucking honestly, he can't comprehend anything.
And like, for someone to say, like, I just will always want you to be better, I think that is such a compliment. Even if he says, like, I don't foresee us being, like, friends, that's such a mature thing to say, because it's like, I don't wish you harm. I just, like, want you to be the best person you can be. And he's like, I'm fine. I don't need I want you to be best.
My eyes rolled into the back of my head. Literally couldn't care. So then we go to Dana and Sheena. Andy, okay, he always transitions when he doesn't want to talk about that subject anymore. He goes, okay, I want to talk about something else. So that was his transition, which was genius. And he's like, Dana's always finding herself on Sheena's bad side. It bothered Sheena that Dana didn't wear a bra. Why?
I loved it. And
Sheena goes, if you're serving food,
I find it weird. But I love Dana's responses. She's always like very like she gives what's it called?
Every action she does, she has a reason why she's like doing it. Or like a reason that if someone criticizes her, she's gonna come back.
She's like, I don't get the problem here. Like, why is it? And I love it because it's like, well, yeah, why is it weird for a man to just have his nipples touching a shirt, but a woman can't have her nipples touching her dress? Like, that isn't that weird.
I think if you have small boobs, like I wouldn't, because my boobs are kind of big, and they
literally would be on the tray or like the But and then
my boob Lisa, got in your goat cheese ball.
And then Lisa's response is like, well, I just think it's weirder to not wear underwear like your friend Danica. Agree. Yeah, I agree. But who cares? She's not the one serving you food, so why does it really matter?
It doesn't matter. And then Lala says that everything about Dana just rubbed Sheena the wrong way, and it was probably Max. To which Sheena is like, she's always really nice to the new people, and she always gets screwed over, which I do want to like talk about this for a second. She was really nice to Lala and James. She like has been, right? But we discussed later that Lala's like kind of mean to her, and then like, I don't know, she like gets left out of things because she was friends with James, or she gets like yelled at by the group. Remember when they hated James?
Yeah.
Like, well, Sheena, you're friends.
Yeah, so I see what you're saying.
But it doesn't mean you should be, like, less of a nice person, Sheena.
Well,
okay?
Here's the thing is, you don't have to be overly welcoming and, like, kind of get yourself into trouble with your main group of friends. But you also don't have to be a psycho bitch at work. Like, there's a middle ground of just, like, being a day-to-day nice person and being welcoming to these people without inviting them to all these things and getting yourself uninvited because, like, your other friends don't like them.
Yeah. But Sheena says she wasn't interested in making friends, to which
lies. I love that. Like, Dana calls her out. I love Dana so much. This is why I like her. She's like, well, if you don't want to make friends, why are you friends with Charlie? She's new.
No, yeah, straight up.
But I kind of like Sheena's response. Sheena was like, I mean, Charlie and I just bonded, which is valid, very valid point. And you're kind of more like Stassi and Lala, and I just don't really want to hang out with people like that.
Yeah, no, I get it. Sometimes personalities just don't click. But then Lala's like, I think Sheena's less intimidated by Charlie because she's boring. Yeah. And I was like, okay, listen, I ragged on Charlie all fucking year. She
is kind of boring. She just has a different humor.
She is, but I kind of like her now.
No, I like her. I think that Charlie isn't as strong-willed, or she doesn't come off. Yeah. She doesn't have a very huge personality. I feel like Dana does. She's like, Dana's just herself full on. Not that Charlie isn't, but she's just really out there more than Charlie is.
Yeah. But I like Charlie. She's like, you don't know me. You don't know like what I've been through. You guys are all bullies, and I almost quit the show 6 years. And everyone starts yelling at her. And then Lala's like, you want to know bullied? That's when I came on. Oh,
God.
And I was like, you can't compare your bullied situation to someone else. Come on.
No, and I don't think Lala was bullied. I think they picked on her.
Oh, I do.
Really? I don't think anybody on the show is truly that bullied.
They were like fucking. Okay, maybe not like bullied, but they were super fucking mean to Lala.
Yeah, but a lot of that I feel like was with Rand.
No, remember when she first started and had that naked pic and Katie was like, It was Katie. Katie was like ridiculously mean to Lala for no reason. Remember, Lala would cry all the time and be like, I just want my mom. And I was like, oh my God, that's me whenever I'm sad.
Stop. Yeah,
I think Lala was hit really hard, but that doesn't mean that she can be like, Charlie, yours is less than.
Yeah, I hate when people compare their scenarios because it's like it's so different because I feel like the group is way tighter now and way meaner to new people. Like just way they really want to set a line. Like some of them are so stuck in their ways that I feel like it is kind of harder.
Yeah. Basically, I hate when people, like my mom always told me, you can't tell people how they feel.
No.
So if Charlie feels bullied, then like also everyone just shut the fuck up and let Charlie live. She's working 2 jobs in LA. She has a gap tooth and she doesn't eat pasta, okay? Leave her alone.
Leave her alone. She has a heart of life enough. She doesn't eat pasta.
I didn't like the gap tooth at first, but it's growing on me.
Oh, Lord.
Maybe because, I don't know, I'm kind of, Sheena and Charlie, 2020.
Oh, God, just stop. Anyways.
Okay, Lord. Then Lisa comes in. Andy asks her, Sheena told you multiple times she wasn't jealous of Dana. Any thoughts? And Lisa thinks there was a competitive factor over Max.
Okay, but here's the thing.
Yeah, which
Sheena said that was edited so weird. So it's kind of annoying that, I mean, they can't really break the don't they call it like the fourth wall where like they can't talk about production. But I feel like Lisa would have said the conversation went a little differently. You know, I felt like they were sticking to what was aired and not what actually happened, which I didn't like.
I think so too. And when they showed the flashback, I really tried to think in the sense of like, they were talking about airtime and not Max. And so it did kind of make sense. Like if you thought about it like that, I was like, oh, I can see. Because she's like, I'm not jealous of Max. It's not that. That's the problem. Like, and I was like, there were like...
I feel like Lisa could have been like, well, there were other issues. You were definitely jealous of her in different ways. It wasn't Max, and I think I understand that, but I think it played in there because you were upset. It looked like that because you were upset about other things that often came off as if you were jealous of her with Max, which I kind of think she still was a little bit.
I think she was a little bit, but I also think that
the root of the problem really was. I mean,
they better start being nice to Sheena because she's one of the OG cast members that they got left. They're losing people left and right.
Shit.
So
hey, now maybe we'll get her podcast on there and we'll get like a lot more about her life.
I'm interested in her Australian boyfriend Brock. So
hell yeah, I'm so happy they showed
hot.
him.
Yeah. So then Andy asked Max at Tom and Katie's housewarming party. Dana found out that Max and Sheena were going to Palm Springs together. Max said it was just as friends. Was the trip strictly platonic? And Max goes, for the most part.
I love how Andy's like, well, what does for the most part mean?
What is that? What the fuck are you talking about?
Give me a definition of that.
Max goes, we played a game that involved us making out. To which Lisa goes, are you 12?
I love her so much. I think she gets so embarrassed a little bit by these people. She's like, what the fuck?
Well, so I'm going to paint the picture of what Max had happened.
Oh, Lord.
He wakes up next to Sheena. Sheena goes down on him. He stops her midway.
Yeah.
Does not finish. To which everyone fucking dies.
I love Beau's response to this whole thing. Like, I just don't understand how that's possible. He must have a lot of restraint.
And Stassi's like, because Sheena goes, it was just comfortable. And Stassi goes, BJs are never comfortable. Your jaw hurts. It's a weird position. What are you talking about? Comfortable. Oh, that was awesome. But Sheena does say she did a lot of things last year she was embarrassed by. And this meant nothing To which Dana's like, one, you guys told me nothing fucking happened.
Yeah, I think this is upsetting because, like, I can't remember the exact timeline, but were Dana and Max exclusive by this point, right?
I think so, yeah. And
either way, they had something. Sheena was not involved while they were, even at the beginning, that it's kind of weird that Sheena would want to put herself in the middle of this love triangle where it's clear Max is not going to pick you. And I just think she, like, really wants love and attention sometimes and goes about it the wrong ways.
Yeah, agreed. Can we hit on Bo really quick? So like you said, Bo is like dying. He asked Max if Max walked around with an erection until it casually went down again.
Because they were with a group of people, weren't they?
I know. This is one of my capitalized, just like, Bo was like, what did you do for your erection?
Yeah. I love Bo on this reunion because him and Stassi have, like, the best, like, little whispers to each other. And I love how they get, like, so excited about everybody else's, like, storyline and comments and things like that. Not in a mean way. Like, they're truly just like, what?
Well, they didn't really get asked any questions until, like, Stassi at the end. But for the most part, they were just chilling, listening. Also, I just want to make a note that clearly Bo's not getting a lot of blowjobs from Stassi, everyone. So
no, he's way too excited about this conversation.
So, blowjobs?
What? Tell me more.
So then Andy does his, okay, I want to talk about something else. But I'm down for this transition.
Me too.
We talk about James Kennedy.
My favorite part of this episode.
This was I was in tears. So they start showing James's journey, right? Him yelling at Raquel, the text, it was so horrible. Yeah. But then telling him she's going to leave him unless he goes to, like, fix this. He tells Lisa he went to AA. Lala's crying. Danica's crying. Sandoval and Ariana are crying. Yeah. Kristen looks disgusted. Jax even tears up. Raquel's crying. Lisa starts crying. Everyone is crying. And then the Zoom goes to Kristen.
Who's just, like, shaking her head like, oh, my God.
She's, like, taking a sip out of her fucking straw. Do you know?
Angrily drinking water.
This has bugged me since season 1. Every time she goes for a straw, it's like the straw can't get into her fucking mouth, right? So, like, it's the weirdest thing. It is such a pet peeve, and she did it on the Zoom, and I was like, no.
It's like, grab the straw, put it in your mouth.
It's like a cat. She's always like, blah, blah, blah.
But she was angrily, like, she was, like, shaking her head and, like,
she does that Kristen thing where she gets mad, so she just starts, like, spazzing a little bit.
Yes, that's a perfect way to describe it, because she does always do that.
Yeah, her and Jax both do it, which I think is why they're both, like, little screw.
It must be a Michigan thing. Sorry, everybody from Michigan. Let us know if you guys all spaz when you guys get angry.
Yeah, is it a Michigan thing or a sociopath thing? These two are crazy. So, Andy asked Katie, what's your reaction watching this? And Katie's so nice. She's so proud of James for his work and his commitment.
Yeah, she said, like, seeing him.
Oh, yeah.
Well, she said seeing him put in the work and really, like, work towards it, like, is what made her, like, okay with it and proud of him. And I'm like, I love that, like, they're willing to give somebody a second chance when, like, people are actually changing. Like, it's good to know that, like, he can be a part of this group and they accept him because he truly is changing. Yeah,
and then Schwartz, okay, that moment, and I cried the first time during this moment when James said he doesn't know if he'll be enough without drinking, and Schwartz was like, that moment super stuck with me. Like,
yeah,
that was the saddest fucking moment. Oh my God, I love James.
I feel like James has always been very good about being vulnerable. I just don't think he was in a good headspace for other people to, like, appreciate him for being vulnerable. Like, with his parents, he's always been very vulnerable, but other people, like, everybody just hated him for their personal reasons, and rightfully so. But now it's like, this is something that they can kind of, like, share with him and kind of really see his heart now.
Exactly. And then Stassi got really emotional for Raquel because she didn't know Raquel, but, like, this whole storyline really opened up who Raquel is. And Raquel's, like, more than one layer, like they all kind of thought. And Stassi goes, Raquel's really likable. I don't want to watch her cry. Which, like, Yeah, bitch, Ariana comes in with what we all knew. Raquel is a fucking queen.
I loved it. I love that they were like clapping and they were like, of course, she's amazing. And Tom's like, we stand her. I was like, yes, there are her cheerleaders. Like they love James and Raquel. And it's kind of funny to see like Ariana and Tom, like last reunion, everybody was screaming at James and Raquel. And now it's like they're all clapping and Tom and Ariana are like, yeah, we've been here for more than a year now. Like, welcome.
Yeah. At everyone on Vanderpump, if Raquel and Tom like them, they're probably good fucking people. Example, James and Raquel. Other example, Jackson, Brittany. Maybe you shouldn't like them. Just ideas. Lord. So then James is a little over 10 months sober at this time, which now it would maybe be like 11 months.
Yeah, I think he's definitely at 11.
And then James was like crying. Like that stuff fucked him up. He's so changed. I love him.
But of course, Kristen has to be Kristen. And she's like whispering to herself, like, this is bullshit, like under her breath. That's and like bullshit. Obviously shaking her head. And so Andy's like, Kristen, it looks like you have something you want to say over there. And she just said,
you look like you might be getting a little emotional. Like, so savage. He's so savage. This reunion, it killed me. Yeah.
But she says she has nothing more to say, which I'm like, I hate when people say stuff under their breath but won't say it out loud. Because in this scenario, like in a previous reunion, you probably could have gotten away with that. But like you're all mic'd so individually that everybody's conversation isn't coming across your mic, so they can hear exactly what you're saying, and they're going to pull that out. So you might as well just say, you treat me like shit. I don't feel like you've actually like made amends with me. That's probably what she wants to say, but she won't say it.
Yeah. So instead, Sheena comes in and she's like, I think James should apologize to Kristen for all the pain he caused. And I was like, but my thing is like, even if James did apologize to Kristen, I don't think Kristen would accept it.
Yeah, I don't think it'd make a difference. I think he should have done it because obviously a lot of this was all on camera, like their relationship. So it's like the apology I think needed to be on camera too, even though it doesn't seem genuine. Then like maybe do a first apology off camera, do a second on camera, just so like you can clear the air.
Which James said he like did apologize already. Maybe he should have. I don't think Kristen and James will ever be friends. I think Kristen, especially she was on the witch hunt for him last season. Remember, it was like,
I don't think she'll ever get over it.
Yeah, so I don't see why James would even be like, I'm gonna extend an olive branch, but he probably should have. Well,
I think it's not very difficult to apologize. Like, I think it would have been nice on camera because it's really easy. Like once Sheena called him out for it, I think he could have been like, of course, I apologize. Like I've previously apologized, but I'd love to apologize again. Like obviously drinking was my big issue and I've worked towards making that happen. I don't think we'll be like friends in the future, but I do want to let you know, like I do regret everything in the past.
Yeah. But Lala sides with James. She's like, shut the fuck up, Sheena and Kristen. And I was like,
they do love to rehash. This group loves to rehash everything.
That also makes me feel like something did happen off camera, but like we can't say for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know if everyone just hates Kristen. That could also be it.
I do think they hate her.
But Kristen does say watching Raquel broke her heart.
Which I think is ridiculous because she hates Raquel.
Yeah. And then Danica comes in and she's like, why are we even fucking doing this, Kristen? Just shut the fuck up. This is so negative.
We moved past this. Yeah.
And then Tom Sandoval's like, this was the worst relationship fucking ever, okay? Just drop it. We don't want to relive it. Which is true. This was legitimately the most toxic relationship on Vanderpump.
And then I love James. He's like, yeah, why are we talking about this? Let's move on.
Whatever. So should we move on? Oh my God, really quick. We have Tom playing the trumpet in the background at one point.
Tom, that's right in my ear.
Tom, what are you doing? He's like warming up, like murr, murr, murr. Like it wasn't even a song. It was just like
he was just bored.
Like he just wanted it to end. Like, Kristen, shut up. I'm gonna play my trumpet.
It's like more passive aggressive than Andy's like, okay, I don't want to talk about this. Let's move on. It's like, let me just play my trumpet over here. Maybe we'll move on.
I know this is a long way away, but I cannot wait until we talk about the time Tom played trumpet on one of James's tracks, and it was awful. I can't wait till we get to that. That is one of my favorite moments.
Oh, God.
So Andy asked James, let's talk about how you got here. How would you have had the right to give Raquel shit for talking you're drinking so much. Oh, yeah, because that was one of the text messages that he sent. And James owns up. He didn't have the right. It's disgusting. Luckily, Raquel's still here. Yeah. Raquel is the queen.
Yeah, I love that he's just so honest, and he's like, yeah, no, I had zero right. Shouldn't have done it. I was clearly in the wrong. And then Andy asked Raquel about like her experience with it all, and just does she think like she turned a blind eye to everything, to herself and about everybody else? And she says, yeah, like it's one of the things she regrets. She turned a blind eye to his treatment of her, which is very difficult.
Yeah.
Like, or very easy to do, but very difficult to like comprehend afterwards of everything that's been happening. But I think even harder to own up to just not saying a word whenever he was doing everything to everybody else. Kitty obviously was a huge part of that. And I love that she apologized. She apologized for not saying anything about his behavior, which I think is really big of her. I don't think anybody was looking for an apology, but I think that's just the type of person she is.
Do we think Raquel might be the new Stassi? Probably not, but they might try to make it that way. They might try to. I don't think it'll be the same, obviously, because Raquel's like the nicest fucking person in the world, and Stassi just brought drama. But they might try to make Raquel like the main player. Everyone loves her.
I think like obviously Stassi had like a lot larger of a role in this show, but I think they'll make Raquel, Ariana, and Katie more prevalent and just make the three of them carry the weight.
Ooh. Because I'm kind of excited for Vanderpump 9 if it's going how we're writing it.
And Dana, like, because Dana's already been introduced to the cast, she can play a bigger part next season.
And introduce new people.
Yeah. I think we'll get more Tom people, to be honest. Yeah, I think they're going to try and separate themselves from Sir, just because it's a really toxic culture, to be honest. Remember when Dana said, like, everybody at Tom welcomed her, but everybody at Sir, like, is so mean, and that's just the ritual. Yeah. Like, you pick on the mean girl if you think she's going to be something.
Well, I swear to God, we should write season 9. I don't know why Bravo hasn't hired us yet. So then,
write season 9. Obviously, this isn't real.
So Lisa gets the last word, and she says when James turned his life around, she was with him 100%. He is back at Sir. He has his Tuesday nights back. If Corona ever ends, Meredith and I are flying out to see you next Tuesday.
We should go to a Tuesday night.
I would be so fucking happy. Like that. I love James. I love James. And we support James. He is enough. Oh my God, my heart.
Well, I love that she was like, he changed so he got his job back. I didn't just give him his job back. I saw real change, and that's why he gets it. And this is when Kristen, again, angrily drinks her water.
Drinks out of a fucking straw.
Which I think it's sad that people won't let other people change these days. Like, if you are willing to better your life, like, you should get a second chance. So I think it's tragic that everybody wants to hold on to the past. I think everybody should pay for their sins for sure. And James did. And he took very serious actions to prove he was going to be different this time.
Yeah. So then Lala, we congratulate her for 1 year of sobriety, a little over 1 year.
Andy said that he saw that she just celebrated 1 year, and she corrected him, said, I'm now like a year and a half at that point.
Oh, well, Andy then asks about Lala and James. They've obviously gotten closer through all this. But what about that Frosty scent meme?
How weird that they were so vague about it. Like, they wouldn't say names.
I genuinely think that there's a lawsuit out. So I don't think Lala can talk about it.
But, like, how does it involve the actual, like, he still owes money, you think?
I think Frosty scent went after it.
Yikes.
It was so funny. Yikes. Okay, I know we've talked about this, but basically Randall owed 50 Cent money. And now for some reason
named Fofty.
Yeah, for some reason they're like doing it over Twitter or something. This was a really long time ago. I need to like brush up. But basically Randall was like tweeting 50 Cent, and instead of tweeting 50, he accidentally did Fofty. So that's why everyone was like, it's Fofty. Like, they just started making fun of him. It was so funny. But James posted that meme. I saw it, and I thought it was fucking hilarious.
He posted a picture of himself and used the caption, like, like, where's my money?
My money on Monday. Yeah. Because that was what Fofty said. He was like, you better have my money on Monday.
Yeah. Which
I call him Fofty.
I understand it's a sensitive situation for Rand and Lala. And so if you just became, like, good with somebody, it's just a new reason to be like, F you. Like, why'd you come at me? Now we're not friends.
Well, Lala said she won't say more than she can, but there's public beef. It got bad. She thought her and James had moved on from petty shit. But when this happened, it hurt her. And James said he's not proud of the remark, and he is sorry for this, which, James, I know you're sorry, but this was fucking hilarious.
It was so funny.
But they keep referring to, like, the beef between Randall and this rapper.
A known rapper.
Which Andy straight up said, like, the Fofty meme. Yeah. Right? He's like the beef.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever. This was hilarious. I wish we could have gone into it more because this shit, I remember it happening. And if you listen back to our second episode, this guy Tim was on it, and he used to be my boss. We legitimately were following it at work. Like, we were not working. And
what a time. We were not working. This is why Alicia and I no longer work at that company. The level of working wasn't actually there. It was
very low. There were a lot of cookies.
No, that made it sound like we both got fired. That did not happen.
No. We just didn't have a lot to do a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So instead we fucked around. Anyway.
Back on track.
So then Andy does ask why this wasn't on the show. They weren't filming when it was happening, which is true. And there's a lot of legal stuff.
Yeah, that was a good question to ask because I think a lot of people were confused and didn't like see it in real time like we did.
Yeah.
And we obviously, like, the show was filmed like June on, or maybe late May on. So this happened like I think in April of
it happened like right before.
Mm-hmm. So.
And then Andy asked Lala at Katie's wine night, you told Raquel that she had forgotten her place.
I forgot this had happened.
Same. It sounded like you thought you were better than her. Thoughts? And then Lala said that she goes into a zone where shit comes out of her mouth and she can't control it. And I was like, I
kind of get that. Sometimes you get so mad about something, then you start raging and you not forget why you're mad, but then you get off topic and you're just trying to destroy the person in front of you.
See, I'm good. If you really piss me off, I will come at you and not slip up once. Like, I'll straight up come
I have
at
different versions. Some I feel like my family were like yellers in our family, so it's like sometimes you just like need a good yelling, and so then you just rage yell, and then you don't even know what you said, and it's just like, okay, fine, I feel better. Like, I think she probably that night just needed to rage, and probably half of it did have to do with Raquel, a lot of it probably didn't, and she just needed to scream and just started calling Raquel names.
Well, Ariana and Stassi were like, good, because we had no fucking clue what you were talking about. All of a sudden, we were talking about dogs.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I think it had, like, I'm sure, like, Raquel's thing was just the straw that broke the camel's back, and she just needed to scream at somebody, and it was Raquel that night. But she said, Lala also said, like, she thought that was just, like, a drinking thing, and, like, she's realizing, like, after this season that, like, she does, like, need to reflect and kind of focus on the way she speaks to people, which I thought it was a drinking thing, too, and I was very disappointed this whole season with how she reacted to people.
But I'm glad she has figured it out and she's reflected on it and she's going to try and grow from it because I'm never going to fault someone for trying to become a better person.
No, like, never. No. And she said she did take like quarantine to reflect. So I think I know quarantine has been horrible and has killed a lot of people, but I think it's given a lot of people some time to like step back from their lives. Which has been really nice.
So then, Andy asked Raquel how it makes her feel to hear that. Does it make her feel better? And Raquel legitimately, this is in all caps, I fucking loved it. She goes,
this quote.
I'm too young and pretty to be putting up with any bullshit from James, so I'm not going to deal with it from anyone else.
Yes, honey, that, if she was a real housewife, like that would be her tagline. I'm too young and pretty to deal with any of this bullshit.
Oh my God, she's amazing. Where did she come from? All the other seasons she's been like, and it might just be the editing, but she's been like this background character. And then this season she has blossomed.
Well, I think she has confidence. Like, it's because it used to be like the core OG cast against Lala, James, and Raquel. And so with some new friends that are working at SUR, like she's building her own version of this show now. I think she's able to control a little bit more of her hangouts and the filming things she does. So I think she's a lot more comfortable.
And it might help that, like, because last reunion, if we all remember, everyone was yelling at Raquel that James's drinking wasn't okay. But like, instead of sitting down with her, like Dana did and like Danica did, and they were like, these texts are not okay. You deserve better. They were just like, Raquel, your boyfriend
his actions. They weren't worried about her and how, like, what was going on in her life and her version of it. They were mad at her because of him, which I don't ever think is right.
No.
I think they needed to take care of her first and deal with her.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's self-confidence, but her ability to like stand up for herself in her relationship. And then they could tackle their issues through her as well.
Exactly. So then Andy asked Sheena about an online video. So I've seen on YouTube, they have these like after shows, and I've watched like some, and sometimes I skip through because they can get kind of boring.
They sometimes put them on Instagram, like the Insta stories, like clips of them. I will watch those sometimes.
These videos are like 30 minutes.
Yeah, but they also like, they do it for every show, I think.
Yeah.
They're always so mean on them.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's brutal to watch. So a lot of the times, like I don't. But there was one where, so in this video, Lala said it's not interesting to see a 34-year-old woman in a crop top and a slutty JoJo Siwa pony doing the same thing over and over again. Which you know what? I watched JoJo on that Dance Mom show, so like I'm kind of a fan. I'm not going to say I watched her on Nickelodeon, but I'm going to say I kind of dig JoJo sometimes. Anyway,
to be honest, great roast, really mean, but really pegged her right.
The JoJo Siwa ponytail. I was like, oh solid. My God. But this was brutal. This is like, I know. Mean. To which Sheena's crying, and she's like, it hurt her feelings because she's done a lot of growth, and she hopes her friends can see that in her and like care about her, which I do think Sheena has. Like, if we think about what Sheena's gone through on the show, she was bullied, then she like made friends with Stassi because she was really nice. Then she was bullied again, then she got married and then divorced, and then people started making fun of her because Rob didn't love her, and then Adam didn't love her, and she just wants to find a guy and la la la. So I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
And, like, why are you talking about what she's wearing, the way she, like, who cares what she's wearing and the way she does her hair? Like, she's actually doing things. Like, I'm sorry, Lala. I love you on this show, but it seems like you just have a little, like, lipstick thing, and that's your, like, extension off this show. But Sheena's done a lot. Like, I know we make fun of her singing, but like she does music. She did that show in Vegas. She has a podcast, a YouTube channel. Like she's doing a lot of things. So she's like bettering herself, and she is actively working on a lot of things. So why are we like putting her down as a 34-year-old woman wearing a crop top and a ponytail and like doing her thing? Like,
and say what you will about Sheena. I roast her all the fucking time, but Sheena, through every season, she has owned every one of her actions, great or stupid, and she knows how to like poke fun at herself. Like she'll just own it. She's very lighthearted and like she knows herself really well, which I think is more than a lot of these other people can say. Obviously, Lala in particular, who says she's like really disgusted by this and she's working on herself in quarantine. And Stassi then whispers to Bo and goes, Lala might be bipolar.
Oh,
which I was like, ooh.
I was like, aren't you guys like friends? I thought you guys were pretty close. I guess when you're not going on a private jet every other week, you're not really that close.
Also, I don't think she's bipolar. I think she's learning how to deal with herself. She's still very young. She's probably, 25? She's like 27 maybe.
I think she has anger issues and doesn't know how to express her emotions well.
Yeah, and I think one, it's hard being in the public eye. Two, if I remember correctly from like early Lala season, she always said she didn't have a lot of girlfriends. Yeah. She was a girl's girl, but I don't think she had like a group. So I just think, Stassi, poor taste in joke, but your mic caught it, timing. So they had to put it in.
Yeah.
And then Sheena calls Lala out. She says that Lala's been mean to her, Raquel, Ariana, and Kristen. All the nice girls, except Kristen. Fuck that one. Who cares?
Yeah, I don't think she meant her, because later she just said Ariana. I don't think she meant Kristen with the nice girls comment, because later she talked about just those three.
Because they showed receipts, right? Like how she was mean to Ariana, calling her a wet blanket, and how she was mean to Raquel. And then I don't know if Stassi tries to like lighten the mood for Lala or if she like wants the attention.
I think Stassi realizes she's not part of the conversation, so she like injects herself, but I don't mind it. Like I think it's kind of funny.
She goes, I'm a nice girl, and everyone was like, well,
I always love how she leans in. She's always like, I'm a nice girl.
I'm a nice girl. And then fucking even Sheena just like stopped for a second and was like, okay, so
we're talking about something specific here, Stassi. We'll just call us three nice girls for the moment.
Yeah. And Lala straight up says, she's like, I think I mean to like very passive people, you know, like people who will maybe deal with it. That's what
people who I don't feel threatened by. And I think the way she means that is like, you're not a very aggressive personality, so I can kind of talk over you in conversations and in fights.
But Lala's going to work at herself, and I think she will. I think she might be a really big main player next season, so she better get it together.
Yeah, we need Rand on the show. We need Rand on the show now, Bravo.
Yeah, oh my God, Rand would be fun if he's not doing cocaine in the bathroom with Jack.
Stop.
That's what I think happened.
I mean, yeah, but Rand doesn't get as jittery. I think Rand is just kind of old and just has that like skin that already is red and like sweaty.
I would love to almost see like Real Housewives of Vanderpump Rules, where it's like Lisa.
We did talk about this once.
Yeah, Randall, Lala, Katie, Tom, Ariana, Tom, James, Raquel, like just all, and then they can fucking adopt all the single ones.
Sometimes there's always a single person on the show. So Dana is perfectly fine, could fit in there. And then they usually have a friend. Maybe Dana's just the friend role, where they always have like a subtle person who's not in the opening scene.
Yeah.
I think we could do it.
I think Rand would sign up for that.
Like maybe it's the upper management now. Like maybe Peter comes in again.
Oh, Sheena. Sheena can do it now too because she's that hot Australian Brock.
Technically, Danica is a manager, so we can do it. I mean, it's just like for a blip, it shows them at work. There's no real conversations. It's just the in-between scenes. It's like the rush of Sir and Tom.
Speaking of housewives, Andy then comes back from the commercial and goes, we're back with the Real Housewives. I mean...
I loved it. There's so many reunions happening.
I know. This is funny, though. I like a good slip-up.
Me too.
So then we see what everyone's been doing in quarantine. Stassi's learned to cook 3 things, but still forgets salt. Lisa's cleaning her own house. I was impressed. I would have thought the maid quarantined with them.
I was about to say, I was shocked to see this because I think if I was that rich, I would have made my staff quarantine with me.
Same. The Bubbas are doing karaoke.
Loved this.
Danica's making avocado brownies.
This was weird. She could not crack an egg to save her life.
Brett is working out. Oh, I hated it. It was weird to watch, though.
That weird, Insta story thing about a 90s dad. I was just like, this is so unnecessary.
Yeah. And then the weird smoothie on his lip, and I was like, ugh,
he's a tryhard. I'm okay with him not being back.
Yeah, goodbye. And then Jackson Brittany makeup tournament. First, you take a shot.
Hilarious. I loved this.
I know, I loved it. Take a shot. Eat a Hooters ring. Chase with a Mondo. Selfie. Run outside. Make a cornhole. You have to make it. And then make a basket in the pool basketball basket. And that's it.
Yeah. The hoop.
This looks fun. This honestly, in the hoop.
I know.
That's what, yeah.
That's what it's
believe
called.
it or not, I played basketball for 7 years competitively. Oh my God. Yes.
Don't believe it. Yeah, I like that.
Facebook pictures.
I really like that because I kind of want to do that with my family. Have you seen those I said Vines. Have you seen those TikToks of the family doing quarantine Olympics?
Yeah.
This kind of reminded me of that. And I was like, oh, this would be so fun to do. This passes the time, gets you pumped up, gets you excited about something. I feel like everybody
think
else.
About it.
Yeah, I feel like, and you could do it multiple times to try and get your time up, or time down. So it's this seemed like the best quarantine idea thus far.
Yeah. And then Sheena and what's his face, Brock, are doing those couple workouts.
Did not enjoy.
Okay, but I like the one where you go you start on his back and then you have to crawl through and end up on his back.
I did not. It was so weird.
I watch a lot of those. Whatever. I love Sheena and Brock. I want to see them.
What do you watch? What do you watch on your social media? How weird. How many of these have you watched?
I don't have a TikTok, so whatever appears to me on Instagram and Twitter is just what I see. And Shawn Johnson, the Olympian gymnastics.
Yeah, I follow her. I didn't see that.
Did it with her husband because they were trying to see if they could do it. And it was right after she had a baby. So she was like super like, let's see if I can still be athletic.
Oh, Lord. She's also too short, I think, to do it. Like, I feel like you kind of have to be a little tall. Oh, dang. She's really strong now. All right.
Yeah, okay.
Anyways, most importantly, what is Kristen doing during quarantine?
She's self-isolating with a boyfriend named Alex.
Oh.
Everyone's jaw was like, what?
Okay, not to jump ahead, but like later when we're talking about the Witches of WeHo, Stassi says she's met him. So I wonder if they like were friends and then started dating and like nobody really knew.
Maybe. They've only been dating for a month and a half, so they had to have like started dating in quarantine.
Yeah.
Because we've been
which is kind of weird.
Since, at least I've been quarantining since like right after St. Patrick's Day or like maybe the week after that. So March.
Yeah. I started quarantining the week before.
Oh my God, you're so much better than I am.
I mean, it was because of my company. And I'm just a homebody.
On the plus side, though, Jax really likes Alex. So if that gives us any idea of who this man is.
Thank God. If Jax says yes, we're all on board.
Also, I'd like to really quick, has Katie been knitting? I'm interested in Katie's weird home activity.
I was so happy he asked about it because I kind of forgot about it. And then I love how she's like, no, I ditched that and I moved on to Legos. And I was like, wow, that's kind of painful. Like, forgetting those on the floor is the worst.
I loved this. And then Lisa goes, maybe you should switch it up and have sex. And Katie and Tom are both like,
karaoke works for us. Yeah.
We're fine. We'll do Legos. So then, Jax, how many fights have you and Brittany been in since lockdown?
Quite a few.
This he was like, a few. There were a few last week, but we're both homebodies, so it's like, it's fine. And I was like, what is the fuck? Brittany doesn't, or just realized that Jax doesn't shut cabinet doors, which this would piss me off. Just fucking close it.
No man does that. My sister does it all the time.
Or I was going to say every man does this because my dad has been known to do this. My mom's always like, fuck, just close it. Jax still poops with the door open. So does Brock, Sheena's boyfriend.
Yep. And so does Brittany.
Maybe it's a guy thing. Nope, Brittany does it. And she's like, don't tell them I'm a lady.
I was like, oh, God.
I don't know if this is appropriate. I don't, just because I come from a house of many people, so you just like kind of close it for some privacy. So now I just have learned to poop with
I don't. But when I lived alone, I did because I literally was alone. Like, why do I need to shut a door?
Yeah. If you live alone, you can poop with the door open. But like, for the sake of everyone involved, like,
yeah.
If my boyfriend started pooping with the door open, I'd be like, what the fuck?
I really want that line to stay. Like, I would like
leave some mystery, you know? Leave a little mystery. So Jax, let's talk about Miami.
Oh, this is good. So
if you remember, Jax made a big deal about how he hated strip clubs and like
they showed it all again. It was like
so basically it's like Jax in bed with Brittany the morning after he went out in Miami, and he's like, I'm not really a big strip club guy. They were all
felt uncomfortable.
All these girls. And then
everybody had someone. I really just didn't want to be near them.
And then we got the receipts. Jax lap dances. Jax motorboating. He's grinding on girls. He's gonna leave Brittany for one of these girls.
That was funny. I didn't mind that. I think that was funny.
I thought that was funny too. And Brittany even was like, that is so bad. Like, but she was laughing and Jax was like, I know. Like, that was a good moment of Jax just being like, yeah, that wasn't great.
But I think like, obviously it's a joke and he can own the joke and be like, yeah, that was a poor joke, but that's, they can both agree it's funny in the moment.
Yeah. But then he pisses me off because he's like, well, everyone else was getting excited about it. So then I thought I had to be excited about it. And I was like, Oh my God.
Well, he was like,
take responsibility.
I know. It's like, he said, well, strip clubs have never been my thing. You know, when we go to Vegas, I'm not really into them. Didn't he get a stripper pregnant in Vegas? Wasn't that the girl?
I think it's still up for debate if he got her pregnant, but he definitely slept with her.
But it was a stripper, right?
Yeah, it was a stripper.
Okay, so there's no way you can say you don't like strippers. Like, come on.
So if someone was like, if I had, you know, just seen the first season of Vanderpump Rules and someone was like, where do you think Jax hangs out on the weekends? The first place I would say is strip club.
Hooters and a strip club.
Hooters and a strip club. Oh my God. And then Bo is like, I think you saw how I was acting at the strip club and then told Brittany that that's how you were acting. And then it cuts to Bo, which I love this. The stripper's like talking to him and he's like, yeah, so I'm dating
Satan. We have a line.
Yeah. So there needs to be like a wall.
Space. Yeah. Which she's like, I didn't put that together whenever it first aired, but that is literally what happened. Basically everything Jack said, Bo did.
Yeah. And Brittany said, she's like, I didn't even care if they wanted to go to a strip club. I don't know why he's lying about it.
I think Jax just likes to lie.
Well, now
I think he never wants to own up to anything. So it's like, let me just lie about it. And then everybody's like, listen, it wasn't that big of a deal if you would have just said it from the beginning.
I roll. But we talk about some more Jax. Andy asked Jax, once you were in Kentucky, you didn't seem to appreciate Sandoval's effort at being your best man.
Flashback to the mobile bar, the best man.
The mobile bar, the umbrella.
The tampons for the ladies.
The tampons. He's like, I'm ironing between 10 and 11 tomorrow. I brought tampons. I have black and white safety pins so that you can't see. Like, this dude is fucking genius.
Prepared.
Fucking genius. And Jack said that it's all for show.
Which I was like, that is a lot to do for show.
And he starts like talking in a circle. Did you notice that he started like trying to make sense of the question, but he like couldn't come up with an answer as to why he didn't appreciate all the lovely things Sandoval did for him?
He was like, you just really wanted to be there. You're the one who wanted to be at my wedding. He brought that up again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were more upset about not being filmed on the show than you would have been for missing my best friend's wedding. And Ariana goes, they just would have filmed him here.
Which is true because that's what they did with the rest of the cast.
Yeah, and then everyone disagrees. Like, even Lisa goes, why would Sandoval go to Jax's father's funeral? Because that wasn't televised.
Yep. I love that Sheena's like, he is a good friend. Like, it's okay to be mad at him, but you like can't also discredit that he's like a shitty friend or just for show or this and that, because he is a quality friend. You can say like, yes, he was like being a good best man there, but I was really pissed off at him.
Yeah.
Like, why you can say both of those things and they can be both right.
And then this next part, Sandoval says he flew 15 hours, bought 3 suits, and then Jax is like, I've done great things for you too. And everyone goes like, what? And he goes, whatever, it doesn't even matter. And
yeah, he's like, it doesn't matter what I've done.
And they kept cutting to other people's faces, and Charlie, Max, Lisa, and Ariana all had my face. That was just like, what the fuck, Jax? Shut the fuck up. Like,
well, I think it was Lisa then who goes, how about he's done amazing things for you. How about forgiving you for sleeping with his girlfriend? And Jax's response was, well, I mean, he was sleeping with people.
He should forgive me. That's what he said. He should forgive me.
I'm sorry. Thank you so much for sleeping with my girlfriend so I could finally be done, I guess. Like, what?
And Sandoval was so torn up about that. Remember him crying? Jax, did you at least use a condom? Like, it was so fucking sad.
Because it doesn't matter if, like, in a sense, they're both cheating on each other. It's knowing that it was about your friendship in that moment. It really wasn't about, like, his relationship with Kristen. Mm-hmm. It was about his relationship with Jax always was everybody's response. And then, like, the girl's, like, relationship with Kristen. Like, it actually had nothing to do with Tom and Kristen's relationship.
Yeah, like, oh, this was so frustrating. And then Sandoval, again, just, like, pulls on my heartstrings. He says that they're boys and they were having a great time, and he was doing all of those things because Sandoval loves seeing Jax happy.
What a great friend.
And everyone goes off on Jax about, like, it's not fair. You're not fair to Tom Sandoval.
And Jax just takes it one step further and gets way worse.
Oh my God.
Well, he just is a good actor then. What?
Ariana came through. If he was such a good actor, he wouldn't be on Vanderpump fucking Rules. And even Lisa was like, okay, well,
yeah.
But no, it's true.
But I think she was saying like, yeah, exactly. I think everybody was like, he is not that good of an actor. Nobody is that good of an actor to that degree. Like, if you're a good actor, I get the bar and maybe the umbrella, but like the tampons, the safety pins, the 47 things he brought, he wouldn't have done that shit.
He wouldn't have gone to Jax's dad's funeral if he was an actor and there were no cameras around. Like, I have said it before and I will say it again. If I had to pick one person on this cast to be friends with, it would fucking be Tom Sandoval.
I think mine would be Sandoval too. Everybody else is good to watch. Like, they're good friends to have on the show. But Sandoval's actually like a solid person.
And then Andy just goes, we aren't going to get anywhere here, so we'll just take a break. Just fully, just like, Jax won't get it.
No, I get worried sometimes where it's like, are you really that delusional where you can't see a good friend? Like I said, you can own both. You can have both emotions.
Well, I don't mean to jump ahead, but next reunion, Jax goes off on Andy about how Andy constantly picks on him.
Which is ridiculous.
I hope Andy is like, you know what? Then get off my show. You're off. Goodbye. Like, it's not going to happen, but that would fucking make my day.
I'm very curious.
It's Andy's job to ask questions about this, and it just so happens Jax is like the most delusional.
Well, the problem is that Jax digs in deeper on the bad things that happen. He doubles down on them, and he just kind of digs himself a grave. So, of course, Andy's going to keep asking questions about it because you're giving him more good content, to be honest. Yeah. Whereas other people apologize, and everybody moves on.
This man is, like, insufferable.
Anyways, let's go to our newest hot spot that's closed right now, but we're going to go to when everything reopens.
The Tom Tom Garden, or Garden at Tom Tom.
I was pumped to hear that they actually opened.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? Did I miss that?
I didn't see anything. But I guess they probably open and then you do like your actual party. I don't really know how opening a restaurant works.
I know nothing. Not even from the show. We've seen like 4 restaurants open and I still don't know what's happening. But they show that Sandoval and Schwartz made video messages for fans and raised money for the employees at Tom Tom.
Loved
50K.
This. Loved 50K. This. Because I personally work in the restaurant media industry. So like or in all food service, my company owns 4 publications. And so I've like seen a lot, I would say behind the curtain that a lot of people just don't tune into because who reads a restaurant magazine who is not in the industry. But it's been really sad to like, we have a Facebook group going and like hear all the stories and this and that. So to hear like owners are really kind of chipping in to like help their employees is really awesome because obviously those employees are real employees and they're not on the show. They don't have this type of money coming in. Like, they just have a normal like per hour like paycheck. So this was cool to see.
Do you think, weird question that just popped in my head, do you think Max is going to be fired from Tom Tom and Brett will be fired from Sir?
I think so. Yes, because I think it's harder for Max to be fired a little bit just because he's a manager position. But when it's like on the opposite side of that coin is they need the manager to be on camera. Like even at like Peter's level, you need like a manager to be on camera.
Yeah.
To discuss dumb shit about the restaurant that without being on the show, it's difficult, very difficult, I think, for Max to have his job, but probably easier for Brett to keep his, but no, I don't think they'll stay at their jobs.
Well, we shall see. But what's next for Tom Schwartz? Katie Maloney's Bar and Grill?
I love this. He was so cute. He was like, I'm really ready to open some more bars with like Lisa and Tom. And he's like, and of course with my wife, Katie.
And I think she was making a joke, but she's like, yeah, whatever. Yeah. Katie Maloney's Bar and Grill.
And he was like, we'll workshop the name.
And then Brett and Sheena. Okay, this was juicy, but also kind of boring.
But really played out. I feel like this is how the conversation went the entire season.
Yes. So Andy asked Brett, you said Sheena was very welcoming. In what ways? And Brett said that Sheena came on a little strong, but Brett's very nice, so he thinks that there was a misunderstanding between the two.
Yes.
And then Andy asked Sheena, how did it feel to hear Brett say you're not a good kisser?
Oh, I kind of felt bad about this one.
I know. And Sheena's like, it really pissed her off. And then Ariana yells, that's a lie.
I love this. And I love how she's like, a few of the cast members can attest that I'm not a bad kisser. And Brett got weird about this. He was like, well, I mean, okay, it wasn't a bad kiss. It was just like a weird scenario. And then Sheena's like, well, you told me like 2 weeks afterward that you didn't even remember it.
Which would make it rapey.
Well,
right? Like a little weird.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that stuff.
Oh, I immediately was like, did she maybe take advantage of drunk Brett? But he remembered it.
Because didn't they play? No,
yes,
I think
they played Scrabble or something.
No, Categories.
Categories.
I always think it's weird because Categories is a really weird game to play that I'm like, how did this happen? But anyways.
I think he remembered. I think it was more of like, he didn't, this is what
I think it was a vague memory. Like, he remembers it, but he doesn't really remember the kiss. So when people ask him, he'll probably just be like, it wasn't that great.
He said he didn't want to make a big deal out of it because he didn't want Sheena to think he wanted to kiss her again.
Yeah.
So maybe he's like, what kiss? So then she'd be like, never mind. Little does he know, Sheena would just want to kiss him more then.
Yeah. It was just awkward because Sheena said that Brett never said anything to her face, but he did during the season. I mean, it wasn't very clear. I think he was trying to dance around it to not like hurt her feelings.
Yeah.
Because he said he's a very friendly guy and he can give off wrong signals. That we like saw him on camera being like, but we'll just be friends. And she'd be like, but we'll keep, they talked about it on the arena, like, we'll keep the door open. And he's just like, I think just like the friends path.
But then Andy, fucking savage Andy goes, he called you middle-aged to your face. And I was like, my jaw I had to pause and be like, oh my God, I'm shaking. And then everyone's like, when is
I love how they debate the middle
50?
age. And to find out that Brett, I didn't know Brett's age. Brett was 32. And he was like, that was just kind of a joke. I mean, like, I'm only 2 years younger. J-Lo's hot. She's 50. And it was just like a thing.
I was like, this is weird. But then Sheena said she was nothing but good to Brett, and she's embarrassed that she was nice to him as a friend. And Brett kind of goes off and disagrees.
Yeah, I feel bad for Sheena in the friends way. Like, I think Brett was kind of mean about some things, but I think Brett truly was trying to be. I think he was mean in his interviews, and that was uncalled for. But it's an awkward scenario to like just want to be friends with somebody.
But here's where I got confused because Danica then goes, Brett flirted with Sheena so much, texted Sheena. The friendship was very misleading and Brett was more than friendly. In which I'm like, other people see this?
But I need some receipts then. Like,
I do need receipts.
Bring up the texts and show us the clips. Like, if he was doing that off camera, then that's really interesting.
Mm-hmm. And then Brett is like, he kind of starts complaining that the reunion is clamping on the new people. And I want to just be like, dude, everyone's kind of getting their ass lit. Okay, will you just like shut the fuck up a little bit?
Yeah, Tom Sandoval got it. Tom Schwartz got it. Jax got it. Kristen got it. Like,
Charlie dealt with it fucking fine, so why can't you? Also, everyone just gave Max shit for sleeping with Kristen. So you know what?
Poor guy had to sleep with Kristen and get shit on about it.
Someone made a comment, like when Kristen was talking about her new boyfriend, Alex. I think it might have been Brett was like, sorry to hear that, Max. And it was very slight, and I'm just now remembering it.
Somebody else said, like, when did you guys start? And somebody piped in and was like, probably the day after she slept with Max.
Oh, that might have been it. Because I was like, that is so funny. So then, the Witches of WeHo.
Dun, dun, dun.
So, Andy asked Katie in Miami, Kristen.
Wait a minute. Back up. The best is he introduces this as the Witches of WeHo had more trials than their Salem ancestors this season. And I was like, that was solid.
I was like, the cast laughed. I laughed for real.
We have subtitles on our TV, and I saw the first part. The Witches of WeHo had more, and I was like, I knew exactly where this was going, and I preemptively started laughing.
That's awesome. Whoever wrote this,
10 out of 10.
So in Miami, Kristen claimed that she treated Katie with more kindness when Schwartz was fucking around for years. What does that mean? And
Katie said that Kristen
Chris,
just wanted like attention, and I kind of agree. I think she was trying to like gaslight her a little bit.
She was just trying to hurt Katie, basically.
Yeah.
To bring up like all this shit that happened.
I totally like. I believe like. Yeah. I think that's exactly what happened.
And then I mean, Kristen's like, I've been there for my friends. I want my friends to be there for me. They're all starting to talk over each other. And then Tom Sandoval tries to get involved. And I'm like, what the fuck's fucking happening?
And Ariana, this isn't about you.
Yeah. And he's like, can I say something? Like, he kept raising his hand. And I was like, are you a witch of WEHO? Shut the fuck up. Or like, what?
Well, I really wanted, like, Stassi kept being like, starting her sentence, and she literally was reiterating the starting of her sentence. And I was getting so frustrated because I wanted Stassi to say what she wanted to say.
Yeah, because we just kept trying to hear, like, it was like Katie, Kristen, and then Katie.
Kristen
and then
would not stop talking this entire section.
Like, sometimes stop, but the minute she heard something Katie said, she would like come back and
this was frustrating. This is the worst part of the Zoom call. Like everybody else has been pretty respectful. This was not. This was chaos, and I hated it.
And it wasn't even like they were truly yelling. They were just trying to talk over each other. So then it was like, I don't know what we're saying anymore.
It's exhausting. Yeah.
But then somehow Tom gets awarded. And he says, knowing Kristen, she's an overventer. Which 110%, we see this fucking all the time.
But he just stopped there. And so Kristen's like, everybody overvents. And he's like, no. What you're not understanding, Kristen, is you do that plus more. Like, you are an overventer as everybody else is, and then you vent more on top of it. Which, and I hope that got to her, like, this is why people are upset. It's not... it's a couple things, but like, it's because you're venting so much, so negatively about one person. And then you get upset when we don't like that person.
Yes. And then Stassi, I think, also made it. She's like, Katie and I have not made Kristen to look out like a bad friend.
No.
In all like the ventings, Kristen looks like a good friend when they, we side against the BF. Because at first I was like, well, Kristen looked like a bad friend season 1 when she chose Jax over Stassi. But she's never looked like a bad friend whenever she supported Stassi.
Yeah.
Which was weird when she said that, because I was like, oh yeah, I guess Stassi and Katie were trying to support Kristen, but they ended up looking like the bad guys, which I was like, I don't know how that happened. Well, I'm so confused.
I love that Stassi went back to last season, though. She, like, walked through it all and said, like, I think off camera, Stassi, Kristen, and Katie must have had like a conversation about Kristen's relationship with Carter, and Kristen said, I want you to be honest with me. And they said, we are more than happy to, but you can't get upset whenever we tell you the truth. Yeah. And so they did all last season. They told her the truth. She threw them under the bus. And then, like, all last season, then when they got to last reunion, Stassi was like, she's going to finally tell the truth and say, like, this was our pact. Like, this is what we decided. And I got upset, even though I said I wouldn't get upset. But no, she doubled down last reunion, screamed at them and said, I don't love like you love. Like, I can't do the, like, hard, tough love that you want to do with me, da-da-da, which I think, like, brought to light how major this issue and how, like, long it's really been going on. And that it wasn't just about Kristen. I mean, it was at the root, Kristen getting upset that they were saying mean things and saying things against Carter, but they had agreed to do that. So I think it kind of sheds light on why Stassi and Katie were even more pissed.
Yeah, and I mean, we all have these friends that, like, talk shit about their significant other, and then the minute you, like, say that they're
join in.
Yeah, it's like, oh my fucking God, you can't come after my boyfriend.
Yeah, it's like, today I like them, so no, you cannot talk shit on them. They're being good today.
Yeah, like, what the fuck, dude? You can't just go off about them, about every horrible thing, and then just because they, like, made you toast, can't be like, oh, well, now. Now I love them.
Katie talked about, she was like, one night you came over, we cried about Carter, you left, I was really upset because I was still holding on to the conversation we just had. Katie. And then the next day, Kristen and Carter are fine. And it's like, okay, I'm still hurting over this conversation and, like, you being in this relationship, but you're fine now? Like, why? Like, I can't be the one who's hurting, and this isn't even my relationship.
I kind of think that got to Kristen because Katie said, she's like, I was hurting with you. Like, I I hated seeing you that upset. And then when you weren't hurt, but I was hurt, it was confusing. So then I didn't want to support you anymore.
I think they had like really good dialogue in this. And I think Kristen learned a lot because she's also out of it now. Like, which Kristen said, like, I was in such a bad headspace, you know, I agree. I think whenever you're in a toxic relationship, you're just in this like washer. It just keeps going round and round. And so like you have the bad moment up top. And then by the time you get to a good moment, you forget about the bad, but it's just constantly cycling. Yeah. But your friends are out of it. So all it is just negativity for them, that you really don't get the positive moments that you're experiencing in this toxic relationship.
Exactly. And Kristen says, because Andy asks her, like, can you see where these frustrations come from? And she's like, in hindsight, yes. And I think that, I don't know if the witches of WeHo have a lot of hope in the future, but I do think they still care about each other. Like, I do think that there'll always be like a love between Katie, Stassi, and Kristen. Yeah. So I think
agree.
If Kristen,
I think there's more respect than there was while they were filming, at least now.
And I think if Kristen can like take the time to maybe grow and realize and apologize and put some space between them, there might be, it won't be like it was, but I think it could be like they can hang out together and be civil kind of thing.
And like larger scenarios, like they can both be invited to something. Bo and Kristen could probably still have somewhat of a relationship. I think it'll be tough though. I think the show held them together a lot. Mm-hmm. So with both Kristen and Stassi off of it, I wonder,
what if Kristen and Stassi, because remember when they both weren't friends with Katie, they reunited? What if them being off the show gives them something to bond over?
And then also, on the flip side is like, I've always heard that reality TV is so hard to do and so toxic because you have to have drama to kind of stay relevant on your show, that sometimes you kind of have to live in this drama-filled life, that I wonder if once they step away from the cameras, if it will be better too. Like maybe Kristen won't be so, like shaky and crazy.
So then Andy asked Lala about when she confronted Carter for not contributing financially to the relationship. People on social media found it hypocritical since Lala's been very open that Randall pays for a lot of her cars and PJs and whatever.
The slides.
The slides. Lala says it's like comparing two separate things. If Carter and Kristen were happy and amazing, it wouldn't have been brought up. But again, because Kristen was probably bitching about this, Lala said something to try and help move it along, and that fell flat because then Kristen got mad at Lala.
I agree with Lala. I think these are different.
I do too.
Because think about Bo and Stassi's relationship too. Like Stassi has more money, so she can
pays majority.
Yeah, which I don't have a problem with because but your partner needs to make up elsewhere, not make up because that sounds like it's tit for tat, but they need to be like doing other things as well in the relationship. No matter how much each other's paying, you both need to like put in emotionally.
Yeah,
and I think their biggest problem literally doing nothing.
Here was Carter, like, not putting in financially and not putting in emotionally.
Yeah.
So then Andy asked Stassi, are you glad that Kristen moved on? And Stassi says yes. Like, she still has love for Kristen, but she's so happy. Oh, my God. And then Andy goes, Kristen, don't get mad at me for asking James this question.
I was shocked he asked him.
James, you've had your differences with Kristen, but you know what it's like to be excluded from the group. For you, what was it like to watch the way Katie and Stassi treated Kristen?
Pause really quick. I knew it was going to go bad, but it started off kind of good. His response is all I'm going to say. I think what he said first was great, but you knew he had to get a dig in there.
He said he could have predicted it. It's not the first time they've done it to Kristen.
Yeah.
Stassi and Katie have abandoned the friendship a few times before. And then he goes, if you don't start changing your ways and getting your shit together, people get bored quickly. And that's when Raquel's face, she was looking at him and she was just her eyes bugging. She's like, you cannot fucking be serious.
Mics.
Because then Stassi and Katie too were like at first they were like, yeah. And then you saw their faces just be like,
let's not get into this. And then of course he's like, as you can see, all these people around you are like getting engaged and moving on with their lives and they're elevating themselves and you're just here.
It's sad you're not, but that's the reality. And I was like,
whoa, we are hitting her hard with the truth. I mean, it's true.
Yeah. But like the fun thing was no one said anything.
No.
Andy goes, "Kay." That was it.
Nobody like defended her, and I thought Sheena might, but like that's what I'm saying. It's kind of true.
Yeah, it was true. It was just kind of like maybe that's a private phone call if James like actually cared about Kristen.
But I mean, hey, Andy asked. Andy asked.
Kristen gets the next question. You were excluded this summer, starting with Katie's wine night, and then Vegas and the engagement party. Vegas and then the engagement party. What was more hurtful? And it was Stassi and Beau's engagement party that she was most hurt about.
Yeah, I think the wedding was just like kind of a fun trip, and it was dumb, and there weren't as many people invited. It wasn't as seminal, like they've already been married. It was so like cliche, like they made it like a kitschy Vegas thing, like Katie and Tom did. But what a massive moment in Stassi and Beau's, like she's such good friends with both of them as well. That.
So then Andy asked Lisa, normally you're the first person to say you don't want Kristen around, but you thought she should be there. Why the different feelings? And she said, she's like, I get how Kristen feels, and these relationships are so roller coastery that it's like
they could bounce back in 3 months, and you don't want them to regret it.
And I get this because remember when Stassi cut Katie out? Katie got engaged, and it was one of Stassi's biggest regrets that she wasn't there for one of her best friend's engagement.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like
you don't want to repeat it again. Like there's no need for this to happen on another leg of this stool.
Yeah, and I get where both Stassi and Chris and Lisa, the points of view we're coming from at this point.
Yeah.
If I was Stassi, I probably wouldn't want Kristen there. But if I was anyone else, I'd be like, Stassi might regret this kind of thing.
Yeah. And Lisa said she didn't, like, until watching this season back, she didn't realize how big the cracks were. Yeah. Like, from her actual live viewpoint, it didn't look like it was as major of a problem. Which I agree, because they don't work there anymore. She doesn't have insight into their lives as much. She just probably had Stassi's opinion, and that's one-sided.
And maybe she thinks that they're, like, kind of adults, so they'll get over it eventually. But, like, little does she know that Kristen's a child, and these two adults can't handle this child anymore.
I think Lisa put a lot of weight in Beau and Kristen's friendship, though, too.
Okay.
Like,
that makes sense.
They're friends, too, so, like, Stassi and her will come back together, but now like, Beau is retracting kind of from his friendship rather than bringing Stassi and Kristen back together.
So then Andy asked Katie, Stassi said Witches of WeHo wine was like Destiny's Child, and she was Beyonce ready to leave. Do you think Stassi thinks she's better than you and Kristen? And Stassi literally goes, this was embarrassing. Like, just straight up, like, this was awful. And Katie says that she thinks Stassi was just drawing a comparison to show that she was ready to leave the group. And then Stassi comes through and says, if you don't think you're the Beyonce of your own life, then what the fuck are you doing?
I love that.
I agree.
I love that. It's so true. It wasn't her thinking she's better than anybody else, but it's like, I'm the star of my show.
Yeah.
And this is how I feel about my current predicament. I'm ready to be the Beyonce and move on. And you guys should all be the Beyonce of your version and move on and do bigger and better things too.
Move on from this.
Move on. Go get your t-shirt line and go knit. And Lego something.
Knit.
Go knit me a sweater, sweetheart.
Now Legos.
Yeah, go build me a Lego house.
So then Andy asks what the current state of the Witches of WeHo is, and Kristen says there isn't one.
Yikes. Which that makes sense because
the way Stassi put it was good.
Yes.
She said there were small little builds that kept going to a point where you don't even know if you can like unravel it at that point.
Yeah, it's gone so far. I think because it lasted for 2 whole seasons and it's been about the same thing.
Yeah. And that's not even all the shit that's happened. Like, I still don't think Stassi should have forgiven Kristen for sleeping with Jack.
There were little cracks before all this. Yeah. And then, like, a lot of distrust that Stassi clearly hasn't gone over. But I think this adds to, like, the lack of trust between her and Kristen because – you know what Stassi shed on that they had an agreement to give Kristen the truth. Kristen made them look like shit and threw them under the bus. Like, Stassi cares about her reputation that it made her look like shit this whole time, and she just didn't appreciate it.
And then Stassi is asked, if your wedding was tomorrow, would Kristen be invited? And Stassi says she's too much of a pussy to answer. she's conflicted. She loves Kristen.
Yes.
But she's a big pussy. That's basically what she says.
I think that means this time away, like, because Kristen said that they haven't spoken at all. I think the time away has really helped them because I think, they're kind of forgetting in a way. They're like, it's not as big of a problem in their lives, so they're not kind of in this washing cycle, like I said, over and over and over. But the lack of trust the trust is still not there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good because time away also means that it's time spent not fighting, you know?
Yeah, time heals all wounds.
Yes.
But I don't think she'll be at the wedding, to be honest.
No.
Maybe if it got postponed for 2 years, maybe. Sorry.
Really quick, the saddest part about Stassi not being on the show is that we won't get to see the wedding.
No.
Oh my God, you just got that? That was the first thing I thought of.
Oh no.
And again,
I didn't think of it at all.
I completely understand that this is her punishment and this is a consequence for her actions.
But as a viewer,
selfish reasons, I want this wedding.
I am happy to not have this wedding because of everything that went down. Like, we are supportive of not having it, but like even when people mess up, that doesn't it just is sad for like all the fallout.
This is, it's Stassi's actions put consequences on me, and this is mine. I don't get to see the wedding. I know. But next week, the reunion continues. I did more questions just of like what was given. This reunion looks kind of boring, but
I know.
We'll get there.
Go ahead, and then I want to address something at the end. 2 things at the end. How
is Sheena paying? Blowjob or money?
Oh, no.
What's the worst night for Beau of the whole year? What's sexier, a penis bulge or a ring bulge?
Good question.
Are Lisa and Brett having an affair? The answer is no to that one. I'm not going to get that started, but that was the topic. Should Max and Brett date?
Yes.
Is Andy out to get Jax?
Always.
Is Ariana's dancing amazing or what? Who wins in a fight? Brittany and Jax versus Ariana and Tom.
TBD.
I guess we'll see.
I guess we'll see next week.
That's that episode. Oh my God, one more reunion and then we get to go back to season 1. The Promised Land.
I'm so excited. I can't wait to rewatch. But
I know.
Really quick, with everything happening and obviously 4 cast members not continuing with the series because of their actions, I'm very curious if they're going to address it. I feel like they would add it to the end of the reunion. Obviously tonight or Tuesday's episode was too soon to add something in, which is not at fault for like NBC and stuff, like production times and things like that. That's very difficult. But in a sense, they will have had more than a week to edit that final reunion episode. So I'm very curious if something's going to be on there. I really hope it is. I think they need to address it. Yeah. NBC has taken a hard stand and is donating a lot of money. So I really hope that they actually address it.
There was a couple of tweets I saw where it was like, Bravo didn't address what happened. Like, you guys really don't care about Black Lives Matter, which I thought was wrong because it did. Bravo fired them basically the day of the reunion coming out or like the day before. So I don't think there was enough time. However, I think they should address it on this next one. I agree with you.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's better to address it on air, and I hope Andy records something afterwards.
Yeah.
And actually like says something. But Andy also is, I think Bravo's doing a really good job of addressing it. Watch What Happens Live all this week.
Yeah, they're having a forum or a chat.
Yeah, I recorded the one after Vanderpump Rules, but I haven't had a chance to watch it. So I'm really excited to watch it. But highly recommend a lot of resources. I know the great YouTube, they just started it, Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man is so good if you haven't watched it. Yeah, it's this guy who was a NFL player. Now I think he does ESPN analyst, but he's at least like a sportscaster now. And did it first on, I think, his like IG story, but it was such a big hit and just really well done.
Is it? I know I'm going to get the name wrong because I always get the name wrong, but there's one guy on ESPN. Okay. Like, because we have diversity problems, there's one black guy and he's a football player and he's an ex-football player and a sports commentator now on ESPN, and I think I'm thinking of the right person, and I don't know if this is him, but I'll check it out and let you know if I'm thinking of the right person. Not that it matters, but I think
either way.
Because I always say that. I'm always like, Mom, because I watch football a lot with my family, because my dad's a big football player. But my dad hates to talk during it, so I'll talk to my mom. And I'm always like, Mom, I don't understand why there's 4 white dudes all over like the age of 70, and then we have this one black dude that's like 30. What's happening here? And my mom's always like, I don't know. And I'm like, these white dudes are gonna die soon. So I don't know why we're having them.
Dudes are gonna die soon.
I always like, I can't think of any of their names honestly, but I always like the black guy because he gives like a fresh perspective.
Yeah, they're usually old players, and I really love because they're so recently out of like their professional career that their mindset's still with it, which I love that perspective.
Young. Yeah, he's so much fun. Cool. I'll check that out. Was it Uncomfortable Conversations with the Black Man?
Yeah, highly recommend. You can either find it on Instagram. I'll send you the guy's profile. Yeah. But if not, YouTube. It's also on Twitter. Highly recommend it for everybody. Matthew McConaughey was on the second episode. He asked him a bunch of questions, which was really awesome.
What's it saying? Hey. No, that's not right.
I don't really know.
There's like a Matthew McConaughey thing.
Well, either bye.
I don't, whatever. Well, thanks for listening, guys. We know this is long, but with the reunion, we just have to take notes on everything.
Yep. One last episode this season.
And then we promise season 1 will be so much more exciting and better. My friend was like, he sent me the article about Stassi and Kristen, and he gave up on Vanderpump maybe around season 6. And he's like, how's it going still? And I was like, well, beginning of season 8 was a struggle. End of season 8 was a lot better.
Pretty solid, yeah.
Will we rewatch? And he goes, oh, maybe I'll rewatch. And I was like, if you do, join our Facebook group and give me your opinions.
Well, we'll catch you guys next week. Last episode.